This is the famous pawpaw, Asimona triloba, the Michigan banana, the northernmost member of the custard-apple family we have here in the United States, North America's biggest indigenous fruit. It's the first week of September. Some of these are just about ready to eat. Already eaten one or two, they've fallen to the ground. Big, huge leaves because it's a short tree, understory. It collects whatever sunlight comes through the taller trees. It forms clones, so one tree can have all sorts of little trees near it. They're all descendants. They're basically clones of the exact same tree, which is important because you're going to have a big patch and you may not have any fruit on there if you don't get a cross-pollination from a different tree, one that's outside that colony or that clone, one from a different variety or from that's not exact same duplicate of the parent because it's formed from a root clone. But again, very very tasty. Consistency of mangoes. The name pawpaw may have come from its look, that it looks a little bit like a papaya as do the big leaves, but it is an all-American, North American fruit. A couple of different kinds. See, there's some more up on here. Usually the animals get them very quickly. The fruits are favorites of the animals. The leaves, however, not so much. There's maybe 5 species of caterpillars that feed on it. Famously, the zebra swallowtail, but otherwise, deer don't like the taste of it. It has a very oily, resinous type of smell. So it's relatively quote-unquote pest-free, but also the deer don't like it. It's actually one that's benefited from the increase in deer by forming these colonies. A great fruit. It's so cold tolerant. It grows in the shade. It's deer resistant. All of this. There's lots of different reasons to try to get this to be an all-American fruit and grow commercially. But the problem, of course, is that a couple things. One, it bruises very easily, falls to the ground. Here we've got several down in here. You can see it squishes, it bruises, it breaks very easily, and that makes it hard for commercial people to sell it. It also ripens very quickly, so if you put one in with an unripe one, they all can turn ripe very quickly, so it doesn't store well or travel well. Then the fruit set, the flowers are mostly are hang downward. That's where the triloba comes from. It's a 3-part plant leaf to it, and those things really do need to get outside pollination by carrion flies or beetles, and so that is kind of different too. The inside of it, quite mushy, big huge seeds. You can't quite see in this one just yet, but again a big large it's a large fruit, very mushy. Also like the custard apple, known as in the South cherimoyas, lots of different kinds of things in the same family. This thing is something that many animals will eat once it's on the ground. But again, the few things will eat the leaves themselves. So a great native plant, but as I mentioned, all sorts of issues with trying to get it to be a commercial plant. It also takes scarification of its seeds, so it could take 2 or 3 years sometimes for it to germinate if the seeds have not been gone through an animal system or have been traveled through stratified through cold for a couple of seasons. Slow growing. Again, you need outside pollination, so you need multiple plants. But otherwise, a fantastic, very tasty fruit that people are starting to look at as a possible North American commercial crop because they can grow so far north and so forth. Great plant. Asimona triloba, the pawpaw, the Michigan banana, our version of a tropical tree that survives quite well and is North America's largest indigenous fruit.